Believe it or not, the 2024 election is fast approaching. One of next year's highly anticipated races is the battle for the Texas Senate seat, currently held by Republican Ted Cruz.
And joining us now is the Democrat vying for that seat, Texas Congressman Colin Allred. Thank you so much for joining us,
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Okay, so you've got a really interesting background. Former NFL linebacker, now a congressman. Why are you running for this Senate seat?
Well, I like to say I've had a lot of titles: NFL linebacker, civil rights lawyer, congressman, but dad is the most important one. And I really did not want my boys to have Ted Cruz as our senator for the next 6 years. We can't afford 6 more years of a senator like him. He's one of the people in our public life who has done the most to pit Americans against each other. He helped lead the insurrection on January 6th, but also in Texas, when a crisis hits, we know we can't count on him. That's why he went on vacation when Texans were freezing in the dark when we had our winter storm.
Let's be real about this, though. Texas is a pretty red state. You're a Democrat. How are you planning to pull this off?
Well, listen, number one, I disagree that we're a red state. I think we are a non-voting state, and we have to do something about that. And I was a voting rights lawyer. I know a lot of the reasons behind that. We had 9.5 million registered voters who didn't vote in the last election. We have to address that, but we also have to appeal broadly. And I think that's something that I've tried to do in my time in Congress. Be somebody who can bring people together, find common ground. A congressman has been endorsed both by the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, which is like the biggest kind of business organ, but also the AFL-CIO. And I think it's possible to lead in that way. And I think that's what we need in Texas right now.
I want to talk about something that's in your campaign video, because in that video, you said, we don't have to be embarrassed by our senator. We can get a new one. So why do you believe Senator Ted Cruz has embarrassed Texas?
He doesn't do the job. And I can't tell you how many people come up to me and say they're just tired of the antics. You know, he's podcasting 3 times a week. He's doing whatever he can to get on, cable news. But he's not doing what we actually elected him to do, which is to legislate in ways that are going to help Texans help the country. He's a content machine, but he's not a legislative machine. And some of the antics, I think, have just gotten to the point now where, as a country, we can't afford it. We need to come back together, remember our shared values. John Lewis was a hero of mine. He said, we came here on different ships. We're in the same boat now. We have to remember that. Ted Cruz doesn't.
It's Father's Day weekend. You were the first congressman to officially take paternity leave. We were talking about this. It's an option that's really just not available for most men and for most families. What are you guys doing in Washington to change that?
It's funny, I really never intended to be the first. I didn't know I would be the first. I just thought that it was a normal thing to do, that you have a child, you take some time off, you're part of those early days. But as it turns out, as you said, of course, most Americans don't have access to it, and many men, even when they do, don't take advantage of it. And so legislatively, I'm trying to make sure that paid family leave is available to every American, and we have a bipartisan working group that is going to produce legislation around that, and it should be bipartisan. It's not a partisan issue. But in terms of setting an example, maybe if an NFL linebacker can take paternity leave, then it's easier for somebody in a different job to do it and not think that they're doing something that's going to go against the culture of their workplace, or it's going to be somehow unmanly or something like that. Those early days are so important. We know that from the research. I certainly know it from my own family.
Yeah, and you were raised by a single mom. So as we prepare for Father's Day weekend, I wonder, were there any sort of father figures or mentors that you had in your life?
Absolutely. I'm really fortunate. I had my uncle who went above and beyond, but I had so many coaches and teachers men who took a prominent role in my life. And fathers can come in a lot of different, varieties. Mm-hmm. There's biological fathers, but there's people who help you find your way. I had a lot of those kind of men. And I think Father's Day is a great time for us to reflect, yes, on the dads who, the biological dads, that's really important, but also on, the men who are doing everything they can to help mentor the next generation, because we need more of it.
Oh, well, Texas Congressman Colin Allred, thank you so much. Happy Father's Day to you.
Happy Father's Day. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, hey there, GMA fans. Robin Roberts here. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Lots of great stuff here. So go on, click the subscribe button right over here to get more of awesome videos and content from GMA every day, anytime. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the morning on GMA.